So Koei Tecmo held on November 16th the third Atelier Yumia stream, and I did a full summary of the live stream on my Ko-fi blog, so you should check it out. And one notably, they revealed the game as some villain characters, and they're the antagonists, and they're specifically calling them villains, even in Japanese. So you have four of them they revealed for now. You have a werewolf voiced by Koyasu, a guy, a noble-looking guy with a cape voiced by Miki Shinichiro. So Koyasu is one of the most popular Japanese voice actors of all time. He voiced like nowadays most people know him for the new version of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime, for voicing Dio in this new version. Well, I'm saying new, but like it's been over 10 years old now since the first JoJo anime by David Studio, I think it was the name. So like 12 years ago or something. And Miki Shinichiro is another legendary seiyuu. He's voicing Akira in Virtua Fighter, but he's also Ryusei in the Super Robot Wars series. And he's also Kurt Weber in Full Metal Panic, in like many iconic characters. And Hikasa Yoko is also one of the most popular seiyuu. Hikasa Yoko recently she did Red Hood in Nikkei, a really cool character. I was surprised, I don't like saying that I was surprised that Nikkei's story is good, because I was always expecting a very good story from the game, but like I didn't expect the story to be this on the nose regarding racism and regarding like this kind of stuff. And the Red Hood event, it was for the first year anniversary, and Hikasa Yoko was voicing Red Hood, and that's the role that left the biggest impression on me recently. The Hikasa Yoko role that left the biggest impression on me lately. And you have Kuroda Takaya, who of course is Kiryu in the Yakuza series, like everyone knows him for this. And so they revealed these villains, and one thing I wanted to talk about is they've been talking regularly about Atelier Yumia and how it's like a very ambitious game, and how it's like more serious, like the developers themselves have been saying that it's a more serious game than usual. And I think it's one of the reasons why they're making these villain characters, and they specifically named them villains. I think like another thing that the producer Hosoi Junzo have been talking about, and this is something they talked about on the first stream a few months ago. I also translated the first stream, but I didn't do a specific article for it. I gotta do it. And they was talking about how Yumia is more cool than other Atelier protagonists. Like she's more cooler and more mature and more like she's more cool rather than cute. And how Aira, it's written Isla, but it's pronounced Aira. Aira, she's like more like she looks more like the typical Atelier protagonist, and how she looks more like the protagonist than Yumia, and how she even has a staff as well. So she would pass more like the traditional Atelier series protagonists compared to Yumia. And one reason they're doing all this, and they even gave Yumia a gun as well, a rifle staff gun. So one reason they're doing this is they're definitely trying to aim for a more USA audience, and how they're pushing more for like AAA audience and a more AAA feel. And if you look at the trailers as well, and if you look at the gameplay, and if you look at the trailers, overall the presentation for the game for Atelier Yumia is trying to be more spectacular than the usual Atelier series. And this is interesting because, in my opinion, there's two types of spectacular things. Like there's like a Japanese way of doing spectacular things and an American way. But obviously I don't really like saying this much, because obviously they influence each other, so it doesn't really mean anything. It's just like super robot and real robots. Like people say super robots are stuff like Mazinger and real robots are stuff like Gundam. But at the end of the day, these terms that don't really mean anything because they always influence each other. And in Gundam, you also have super or robot type of stuff, like the new type stuff, etc. So these are terms that exist, but they don't really mean anything when you're a specialist. But anyway, so yeah. Atelier Yumia with the trailer and how the battles look and how she's doing flips all the time, and that scene in the trailer when she's jumping out of a window and stuff like that. It's like more USA spectacular stuff, but at the same time, it's definitely Japanese, and like obviously, thank God it's Japanese, and like you can tell like with the character design by Torida, by Benitama, etc. Benitama was the character designer of Frederica. I forgot the English name. It's a spin-off that Marvelous did. It's a spin-off of Rune Factory. It's a roguelite spin-off of Rune Factory series. I didn't play it yet. I gotta play it. But yeah, he was the designer for Frederica. I forgot what the English name was. And then now he's doing Atelier Yumia. So yeah, and in my opinion, like they're definitely aiming for the same Atelier audience as usual, but for a bigger audience as well. And one thing interesting that I talked about, like I translated it at the end of the stream, they did a Q&A, and they were asked if they were planning to do an Atelier Yumia 2, if they're already planning to make an Atelier Yumia 2 or not. And so yeah, Hosopi explained that he and Abiko is the game director. He was the director of Atelier Ryza 1, 2, 3, and now he's the director of Atelier Yumia. So he explained that they've been working together on the Atelier series for 7 to 8 years, and they're always discussing what to do for the next games. But one thing about Atelier Yumia is that it's their greatest achievements. So in Japanese, he said Kessaku, so it means it's like their masterpiece. And he said like Atelier Yumia is like the best game Gus can pull out right now. So it is interesting they say that, because it looks like they for now they're going into this direction of making things like more AAA and making things more higher budget, and how Atelier Yuma is also an open field game. So open field is a term that Japanese developers they use to say that the game is not open world, but it has some very big areas very similar to a open world game, and that's what they showed on the stream. I translated this in my article as well. So Atelier Yuma is composed of several giant areas like this, and then you have some smaller areas connecting the bigger areas. So it's small areas connected to each other with no loading and with seamless exploration, but it's not fully open world like Zelda Breath of the Wild or like Genshin, etc., to take popular recent examples. So yeah, that's why they're not saying open world, they're saying open field. So this is a term that Japanese developers always use. So yeah, so for now for Yumia, they're going to this direction with the open field, with the more spectacular representation, and with the cooler protagonists, etc. And I wonder, like, if Atelier Yuma sells well, I guess they will definitely continue in this direction. But even if the game doesn't sell well and they don't do an Atelier Yuma 2, in my opinion, the next game is probably going to be in a similar field as well, because I saw this article regarding Koei Tecmo, their financials. Koei Tecmo has published their financials, and Automaton did an article about it. Automaton is a Japanese site. It's a Japanese site. They are owned by what was the name? Active Gaming Media. Active Gaming Media, that's the one who owns Playism. Playism, the Japanese label who publish a lot of Japanese indie games. So they're not independent, but they do a really, really great job at covering Japanese gaming news. So in my opinion, it's the best site when it comes to Japanese gaming news in English, because all their writers, they're very good translators as well, and I don't think that I've ever seen them do any kind of translation mistranslation or translation mistake. So it's the best site when it comes to English game news. Personally, I always ever since I became a games journalist myself, I've been reading news directly in Japanese on Famitsu, For Gamer, GameWatch, Inside, GameSpot, to Denfami とか these kind of sites. I've been reading them all the time. I'm trying to read the news only in Japanese, but it's easier for my videos to bring up English articles, so I'm showing you Automaton. So yeah, and Automaton, by the way, they finally opened a Blue Sky account this week. They did a Blue Sky account for the English version of the site, so you should definitely follow it. But yeah, anyway, so They quickly analyzed the shareholders meetings, the latest shareholders meetings Koei Tecmo did, and most notably, Koei Tecmo has recently formed a new in-house AAA studio and has already mentioned plans to make yearly releases of major titles a priority. So yeah, so they said that the like they're planning to transition to PC and console games, and that it's an observation made based on the success of recent Chinese and Korean titles. So yeah, Stellar Blade, Wukong, etc. And this is very interesting because so they added on the other hand, Koei Tecmo's representatives noted that the mobile market is already mature and that significant growth is unlikely to be seen. So basically, Koei Tecmo is planning to get bigger and to steadily produce AAA titles. So this is kinda like I don't wanna talk about Atelier Yumia too much because the game is not even out yet anyway. So, but yeah, in my opinion, even if Atelier Yumia doesn't sell and they do some kind of other direction for the next game, they will definitely keep going for this triple A direction because Atelier Ryza 3 was already like this because it was like an open world with all the areas from the Atelier Ryza 1 and 2. So they will keep going in this direction, and they didn't specifically say why they think the mobile market is not going to grow anymore. I have a theory regarding this. My theory is how with Genshin's success in 2020, more and more studios, be it in Japan or in Korea and in China, they're all doing the same kind of action RPG gacha games, open world on mobile and on PC. So I think the market is going to be saturated very soon. So I think that's why Koei Tecmo has decided they're not going to go into this market as well, because like nowadays, like on mobile, the most popular genre is open world action RPG with some anime style, anime designs, and like even game series that have nothing to do with this kind of stuff, they're doing games like this now. And the best example is the Mirai Nikki series, which is a adult dress up game initially, and they're doing a open world RPG dress up game. So yeah, with Infinite Nikki. So yeah, so Infinite Nikki, and so yeah, so Azure Lane as well. Azure Lane has announced they're making an action RPG open world game. So yeah, like every mobile, every popular mobile game, Azure Lane, I think Doll's Frontline as well, to Arknights as well. They also announced similar action RPG open world games, so they're all doing it. And on top of that, we also have some anime series from Aniplex, etc., who are doing these kind of games as well. For example, Ao no Exorcist or Blue Exorcist is doing this kind of game as well. Nanatsu no Taizai as well, the Seven Deadly Sins, they're doing this kind of game as well. So everyone is doing this kind of games. So I think that's what Koei Tecmo is thinking about and why they decided to go more into consoles and PC rather than mobile. So yeah, like you can definitely feel this change with Atelier Yumia. And for now, the game is not even out, so I don't wanna say too much that I'm worried. But yeah, hopefully they will manage to balance things out and to keep the Atelier feel, the typical Atelier feel, with some cute characters like Aira and like Lenja, etc. This kind of Atelier, pure typical Atelier stuff, but maybe make it blend it with the AAA feel and maybe it still work, I don't know. Because personally, I've been playing only indie games and only Japanese games for like over 15 years now because I have absolutely no interest in AAA games. So I really hope that Koei Tecmo is not going to make some AAA slop and just do the same type of USA games that everyone is already doing. I really hope that's not going to happen, but I don't think so anyway. So yeah, that's it for Atelier Yumia, I guess. Thanks for watching.